Welcome aboard Tristan and Tommy's Runaway Railway. For your safety, please remain seated and enjoy the show. All right, hello. Welcome to Please Remain Seated, a theme park podcast hosted by two theme park enthusiasts that work for the industry in Orlando, Florida. Today we got a lot of Disney updates, including some leaked attractions, the wage update, the union negotiation update, some Riddy Creek updates, the 50th finally being over, Universal HHN dates being released, and a new roller coaster just opened up in Georgia to critical acclaim. We're also going to discuss 5 scenes we would add to the Great Movie Ride if that still existed, or, if we want to bring it back, what scenes we would add. And then we're also going to each discuss our 5 most overrated roller coasters. Tristan, it's been a while since we recorded. How you doing?
Goodness, yes, it has been a while. It's been crazy. I've been working a lot of hours at my job, my new job. Been there about a month now, so
Nice.
I'm hanging in there. I'm doing well.
I also started a job a little over a month ago, so we're chilling. We're both still in the industry, of course, but
Mhm.
yeah, we're thriving.
What do you know? What do you know? I'm happy, and we're
Yeah.
actually going to get to why I'm happy is one of our news updates here. But
Happy, happy, happy.
anyway, so let's hop on into it, Tommy. What do we have first?
All right, so first of all, at some point in the last couple of months since we last recorded, um, there was a leak about the Mary Poppins attraction that was supposed to go in the UK pavilion. Of course, back in 2019 during D23, when they announced all the changes that were supposed to come to Epcot, one of the most anticipated was a Mary Poppins attraction and Cherry Tree Lane going to the UK pavilion. And what was revealed recently in leaked artwork was some sort of indoor teacups attraction. Tristan, how did you feel about the leak for Mary Poppins?
I thought the teacups part of it was not special, so I don't care that it didn't happen or is delayed or whatever is going on. Because like a teacup ride, I mean, maybe I don't know if you can theme it well enough, maybe it'll be cool. Like alien swirling saucers, just kind of
Yeah.
a clone of a already kind of generic ride system.
Mhm.
But they made it kind of fun, so maybe they could have done something like that with teacups. The thing that I found interesting about the Mary Poppins attraction back when like word was going around about that being in the UK pavilion was like, where is it going to go? Because I have
Yeah.
looked at Google Earth pictures. I'm actually pulling that up right now on Google Earth to see what the area actually looks like, just to find out logistically where a show building would fit behind the UK pavilion. And I don't know where that would be. They'd have to tear something down
Honestly,
to put that in.
the only thing I was thinking of was tearing down the World Showplace.
Yeah.
But like I know that that's a really popular event space that they like to use. So I don't know if they would actually tear that one down. Like so my hot take, so I think also with the teacup it was going to be indoors, so it would be free from weather versus your typical outdoor flat rides. Like, honestly, my only issue with it is that when Chapstick made the announcement in 2019, he made it sound like this was a big deal that, we're getting a Mary Poppins attraction. This is going to be a major capital investment, but then it's just a flat ride. Now, having a flat ride, especially out into the showcase, actually doesn't bother me that much because Epcot is the only Disney World park that doesn't have just a regular old flat ride. Like, Animal Kingdom has T-Spin. Magic Kingdom has Dumbo and their teacups. Hollywood Studios has Alien Swirling Saucers. Epcot doesn't have anything like that.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't mind a ride like that at Epcot, just, to eat a few more people, another ride for kids. But the way that they announced it made it sound like it was going to be a bigger deal than what was leaked. So that's really my only take on it.
Yeah.
But,
I mean, whatever.
it's been
In terms of the whole Epcot expansion, it was also just said that the Journey of Water is going to be the final element of the Epcot expansion. And that's kind of a bummer to me. Like, oh, okay,
yeah.
that's what we're ending with. It might be cool. I don't know. It didn't seem like something that was supposed to be that cool, or that much
Yeah.
of a big attraction, really, more than just a piece of scenery. So, and I've said it before and I'll say it again. The thing I was really looking forward to with the Epcot expansion was that event center that they were going to have somewhere actually in that area, I think, or somewhere behind like where that newer Starbucks is, um, by Canada Pavilion. There's like that space. I forget what it's called. Rose Walk, I think it's called. But there was going to be that event center there that was several stories high, and then the top of it had like a whole bunch of foliage, and it was going to be like a fireworks viewing spot. That's what I was really excited about. So it seems like that's definitely not going to happen now. All right, small technical difficulties later, and we're back. So basically, I was just saying that I'm super bummed that the Moana thing is the last uh part of the Epcot expansion, because I was really looking forward to that event center that was going to go somewhere in the
Yeah,
Rosewalk area. Looked really cool to me. Oh well.
yeah, no, I agree. And like now it's like pretty much a scaled down version of what used to be there in a way. Um, it's like, I mean, I'll reserve my judgments to when it's complete, but hopefully they just do the space justice. One thing that was interesting is that the last artwork shown on like the new Communicore Hall is that it has like a new area for Mickey and Friends, which I believe was supposed to go in the Play Pavilion, which I don't even think they officially announced it being canceled, but it's canceled pretty much. Like it's canceled. That's not happening.
Yeah, yeah, that's true. I forgot. To be honest, I forgot about that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. They just think everyone forgot about it, except
Yeah, but
for few insane people like me.
all right. Well, what's next?
Talked about some of the Disney union wage negotiations on our last episode. They've been going on for a while, and it seems as if Disney and the union finally agreed. Um, One of the things the union was fighting for was for, more upfront, and it looks like they're getting that. They have promoted that they're going to be at $18 minimum by the end of the year, with retro pay going back to October 1st, which it's only going to be $1 of retroactive pay once their contract is ratified, which should be like right now ish. They'll be at $17 an hour, and that's their base pay. That's my kitty climbing on stuff. Um, I got distracted by that. And then by December of this year, they'll be at $18 an hour officially. It's a 5-year contract that's going to get them to $20.50. Tristan, what are your thoughts on the new contract?
About dang time, man. We talked about it. I don't remember for the last episode or at some point, but Central Florida rent ain't good.
Yeah, it ain't good. No.
And we've seen all those posts going around social media about like this is what the average, here's minimum wage.
Yeah.
Here's the average rent in Central Florida or just Florida.
Yeah.
It doesn't add up. And it didn't. It truly didn't. So it's about dang time.
Yeah.
Um, honestly, I'm not surprised. I personally knew Disney was going to do that when Universal gave their raise.
Yeah.
I was like, how is Universal going to give a raise and Disney's not gonna? They're gonna
Yeah.
have to one up Universal, or
Yeah.
else they're
And I
just
mean,
gonna let all their employees go work for Universal.
the thing that shocked me was the last round. Like, I mean, there's 2 rounds of negotiations after the no vote. One happened in February, and that happened to be the day after Universal announced their wage increase. That day, that's when Disney was still saying they weren't going to like add anything more than what the cast members projected. And then, they had, some rallies, did some media events, and then late March, the union and Disney met and they agreed on this new deal, which gives them a little bit more upfront, which is what the union really wanted and really what cast members need. Um, One thing that concerns me, is that, back in January, they heavily rejected the old offer, which was going to be $20 in 5 years. This is only $20.50 in 5 years. Now the money that cast members are getting up front is going to be really good. Um, but then by the end of the contract, it's going to slow down a little bit, and I'm hoping inflation doesn't screw them over by the end of the contract because that was kind of my biggest concern. Because I know they were initially fighting for a 3-year contract, uh, but Disney, they wanted a longer one. So hopefully, our friends at Disney will be okay. But for now, congrats on getting more money because they super deserve it.
So actually, and this is an interesting point that kind of sort of segues into our next topic here. Um, you always think, okay, a company like Disney has more money than anyone, and
Yeah.
why can't they pay their employees more?
Hmm.
Or a living wage, as many of them
Correct.
wanted.
Yeah.
Um, Okay, so here's another thing. Disney, I just saw this today. Disney donated $100,000 to something in Central Florida. I don't know if it was a specific charity or if it was just something more general than that. But I believe that that was in retaliation to all the stuff that DeSantis has been saying against Disney and how DeSantis has been threatening Disney, which, like I said, we're about to get into.
Yeah.
But if Disney has $100,000 to just say, here, we're going to donate this 100 grand to whatever to make it known that we are important for the Central Florida economy, and that people rely on Disney,
Yeah.
then they certainly have money to pay their employees.
Yeah. I mean, here's the way I look at it. Disney parks profit in the billions every quarter. Like not every year, every quarter. And they paid Bob Chapek what 20 to 30 million dollars to not do anything after he spent years ruining the reputation of the company. So if they're profiting that much and they're able to pay tens of millions of dollars to a guy that ruined the company, they can pay the cast members that are actually making the magic a living wage. So I mean, I'm glad that they are getting closer to that. So yeah, anyways, Ready Creek?
Ready Creek.
Reedy Creek.
So this has been an ongoing thing here. Um, First of all, I just want to touch on how inconvenient it is that they're trying to rename it the Central Florida Tourism Oversight District. Why would you name it something like that? Just call it DeSantis Creek. Why would you name it something
Yeah.
so long? Anyway, that's completely on the side. But so this has been ongoing for a while now, and I guess the most recent update with this whole DeSantis versus Disney thing is that DeSantis is now threatening to put toll roads and increase taxes at the Disney hotels. And then his quote is, I have it pulled up here. Uh, I'll kill Reedy Creek deal. Like
I'll kill.
that's what
Wow.
he's focused. I'll kill Reedy Creek deal.
Well, so one of the reasons that that came out was so the whole oversight district board thing that was confirmed in February.
Central Florida Tourism
Yeah.
Oversight District.
And a month later is when their board realized that Disney went up to them in their deals. It was literally the day before they officially signed it. Disney essentially gave themselves power, added clauses into their contracts. One of them was it gives them like their power up until 21 years after the death of the youngest descendant of King Charles III or something like that. Some absurd royal clause that Disney had the audacity to throw in. It's so funny. Like the fact that and like it's not like they were like that sneaky about it. Like they said they did these in public forums. They just didn't notice it because they thought they were too busy owning Disney, which, I think a lot of people are like, yeah, I guess it makes sense why Disney was so quiet about it for the past year because thing DeSantis said like a year ago that he wanted to do this, and I guess Disney spent the whole time planning away. And now DeSantis is like, well, I'm gonna add tolls and more taxes maybe or something to get back at them, which does that even sound legal? I don't even.
No, it doesn't sound like it. I couldn't really tell you if it is or not.
Yeah.
One thing in this article I have pulled up here says that if DeSantis wants accountability, he should urge the legislator to pass combined reporting for corporate income taxes that would prevent corporations from using tax avoiding accounting tricks. Basically, the point of the article saying he's not even doing that. He's just trying to be the big guy.
Yeah. He's he's making himself look like a jackass, lack of a better term. I
Yeah.
mean, that's all you can say. Like being very, very petty and what adding toll roads and taxing and he said specifically the Disney hotels, which you can't just tax those hotels. You'd be taxing all the hotels in Central Florida, which, includes Universals and SeaWorlds and everything.
Yeah.
It's very silly. And then it's like, what, you want to put toll roads for all the tourists that Florida brings in, all the tax money that Disney brings in, and the 70,000 people that work for Disney. Just yeah, man. I think Bob Iger, I think I want to say it was before DeSantis said all that crap. He had made a statement that pretty much said that, they are retaliating against us for utilizing our freedom of speech. And, we're a company that's done so much for the state of Florida. all the jobs, all the taxpayer money. Like Disney is the reason that Florida residents don't have state income tax, is because all the taxes that the tourists bring in. Iger pretty much said what DeSantis is doing is anti-business and anti-Florida,
Yeah.
and he said it so beautifully.
He's
So
trying
happy.
to he's trying to condescend Disney so much. And even in this one liner in the article, which is great. In a question and answer session at the conservative Michigan College, DeSantis called the entertainment giant and largest single site employer in the state a joke. Now, I wish that
Yeah.
someone out there with graphic design or who can just make a simple pie chart or something, make a giant circle and it basically says all Disney and all the things Disney has done for Florida and the world. And then put a little tiny, tiny, tiny circle off to the side that says Ron DeSantis and his legacy, which is a fraction of what Disney has done for the world. Ron DeSantis is nobody.
Yeah.
He's going to be forgotten 10 years after he's out of office. Um,
Hopefully.
come on. Or he's going to be the president. So we'll see.
Yeah. I'm like the fact that a potential president is getting completely duped by Disney right now. I know that's a whole other topic I don't even want to get into. Um, but also in that what was it, the earnings call that Bob Iger did when he said all that, he also mentioned that over the next 10 years, the Disney is going to invest $17 billion of capital investments into the parks here, which that is what I'm curious about. 17 billion, that's enough for another park.
That's the first thing that popped into my head. That has to be a fifth park.
I mean,
How would it not?
I'm whole bunch of refurbishments, maybe.
They don't need that. Haven't they already like redone all four parks at this point to make them all at least a little bit modern? Obviously, Magic Kingdom getting Tron
Yeah,
most recently, Epcot getting everything it got, Hollywood Studios getting Star Wars and Toy Story Land, and Animal Kingdom getting Avatar. They've
yeah.
already sunk all the money into the individual parks to make them fresh and modern
Mhm.
and desirable to go to. You know, put a fifth park in now. Come on,
Yeah,
we're way overdue. I know on a
I know.
previous episode I talked about all the years that the Disney parks had opened in Florida. 1971, 1982, 1989, 1998. Now we're in 2023. Come on.
Yeah, I mean, the I think Josh Tomorrow recently said that Tron is just scratching the surface on what they want to do with the Magic Kingdom, which I'm like, I can't even imagine. I mean, I know they talked about the Beyond Thunder Mountain thing at D23, then also D23 also talked about reimagining the Dino Land area in Animal Kingdom. So I'm sure, a portion of that 17 billion is going to Dino Land or Moana's Zootopia Land, whatever they decide to do over there. And then maybe another Magic Kingdom expansion. But I mean, I think if Fifth Gate is in order, they did tease the fact that the potential villains land got a really big reaction at D23, and that's something that's been talked about for years. Just give us a Dark Kingdom park. Give us the Dark Kingdom.
Why do that when you can walk through a waterfall with a big Tafiti?
You know, that's a valid point.
Whatever. But yeah, I'm super excited about that. I mean, like you said, the fifth gate is what everybody's talking about here. Is what it could possibly mean. I mean, what else off the top of your head? Can you think of anything else that you would want them to use $17
Oh
billion
yeah,
dollars for?
17
Dollar.
billion. And then he also said an additional 13,000 jobs. So that sounds like another park, but he didn't say that, so curious. Also, my cat's walking
Oh
across
wow.
the desk. Hello.
This is the first time that what's that cat's name? George?
This is Sabrina.
Huh?
We
Adolf?
also we also sometimes just call her Stink because she's stinky and is walking all over the laptop doing that. Make
You're
sure we
about
don't
to
leave the Zoom call now. Oh, oops, sorry.
Yeah, right. He's
Yeah.
yeeted that cat.
Yeah. She's under the bed now.
Yeah, 13,000 jobs. What could that possibly be? I mean, like, come on, 13,000
Like you
jobs.
can't just say that much money and that many jobs and it not be another park, Disney.
So
Give us what we want.
Iger just said that recently in his most recent video thing that he put out that we have 77,000 cast members working here right now. If we add 13,000 to that, that brings up 90,000. I had to do that math on my calculator. What percentage is that? I'm not good at percentage. Whatever percentage increase that is from 77,000 to 90,000 employees, that has to be something huge.
Yeah.
$17 billion, 13,000 jobs. Yeah, we're gonna get, you know what we're gonna get? We're gonna get the Emperor's New Groove Park. That's what we're getting.
Yo, let's go.
Mm-hmm.
I'm ready.
Yep. Yep. Kronk's gonna pull the wrong lever. You're gonna ride the ride that's in that. You're gonna eat at Mudka's Mud Hut.
Let's
Oh man.
freaking go.
Which actually we're gonna touch on the Emperor's New Groove later when we talk
Ooh.
about the Great Movie
Uh-oh.
Ride. But
Oh.
I don't know. Anyway, let's move on to this next thing here
Yeah.
because it's something I'm actually relieved about.
Okay.
The 50th anniversary of Walt Disney World.
Oh my God, it's finally over. Thank God.
18 months later.
18 months in. What did we get out of it?
You tell me. I
Recently
couple
watched a video that kind of analyzed what we really got for the 50th. So on October 1st, 2021, Ratatouille opened, which was supposed to open up, a year and a half before. Harmonious debuted, which was supposed to debut a year before. The Magic Kingdom got a new fireworks show that everyone hated. Uh, Most importantly, Kite Tales debuted at Animal Kingdom, the best daytime show that's ever been at Disney World. And then of course we had the Beacons of Magic, where all four park icons got prettier, especially Spaceship Earth. I think the Spaceship Earth lighting package is the best thing to come out of the 50th. Then plus the monorails got new lighting under them. And then there's a bunch of 50th merch. That's pretty much what we got.
I like maybe 3 or 4 pieces of the merch.
Yeah,
That's it. Um,
that yeah.
and honestly, all of them are that vault collection where they bringing back like retro things.
hmm
I think that's cool. But
Yeah.
okay, 18 months later, the day of the actual 50th anniversary, which is actually when our podcast Please Remain Seated debuted, like almost nothing happened. Like they had a very disappointing press event at Magic Kingdom that the guests weren't even there for. It was for press.
Yeah.
And
Not
then the
even
guests
cast
came in.
members.
Yeah, exactly. And then it was a normal day. It was literally a normal day. The guests came in and like there was nothing special.
Yeah. Like
From what I
even
remember.
yeah, no, what I remember was I had a friend come down from Pennsylvania. He went to Hollywood Studios on October 1st, 2021, and like everything was a walk-on over there,
Mhm.
which is insane. And even at Magic Kingdom, a lot of rides didn't have long waits because everyone was like trying to get merch or
Yeah.
whatever.
From what
Like,
I heard, everyone was
damn,
on Main Street. The rest of the park was kind of dead.
that's insane.
Yeah. So, and I know that park could do tens of thousands of guests, and it was probably at
Oh
tens of
yeah.
thousands of guests. And the fact that most of them were on Main Street, that
Yeah.
must have been crazy.
Yeah. Bless any Emporium cast members that day.
Mm-mm-mm.
Yeah.
But other than that, we're on our 100 years of wonder now, and
Yeah.
I do like the merch for that a little bit better than the 50th.
Yeah.
Not entirely though. Some of it's kind of iffy.
I
I
like the
don't know.
Spirit jersey.
Yeah. Mm.
I will say for 50th merch, they had like they had those mystery box set pins, and I got two of them because there were like two specific pins that I wanted, and I did get them. One was a Figment one, and then the other one was Waldo, the Spirit of 3D from Muppet Vision, and now I have a pin of him, and I'm very happy about that.
Well, all right.
So I guess thank you 50th for making Spaceship Earth pretty, or like it was already the prettiest thing ever, and now it's more.
You
Also,
just got
Guardians of
Epcot bald.
Bald. Share this with all your friends. But yeah, and then also Guardians open, and that's amazing. Anyways, goodbye 50th. Glad you're over finally. On to things that aren't Disney. Universal announced their dates for Halloween Horror Nights 32, which is going to be this fall. It's going to be September 1st through October 31st. It's going to be every week, every day except for Mondays and Tuesdays, like through Halloween. As a big fan of Horror Nights, I'm very excited. They also released merch. I'm wearing a shirt right now. It says "See you in the fog." There's like some like zombie creatures or something on it. maybe a teaser of some houses to be announced. There's also got a candle that says "See you in the fog." They also have mugs with the same logo. It's the only merch they've released so far. Um, and I believe "See You in the Fog" is like a reference that the scare actors would use to each other. They're backstage getting ready to go on. They're like, "All right, see you in the fog," and then so it's nice. And I really like the colors to them, like this blue. It's a really nice shade of blue. Tristan, what are your thoughts on Horror Nights?
I don't know, man. I'm going to talk about that shirt a little bit longer.
Okay, cool.
I don't like t-shirts that have text on on the sleeve.
On the
That's not
sleeves,
my
okay.
thing.
See, okay,
So
I'm
like
okay.
it's weird to me, and especially shirts that only have text on one sleeve because I'm a symmetrical type of person.
All right.
Yeah. Happy
Because
Halloween.
weirdly enough, I'm usually not like a text on like this is not the type of shirt that I would ever get, but I enjoy Horror Nights too much. I don't mind a nice logo on the sleeve. I mean, it is words, but it is kind of a logo, so I don't mind it. I like a one sleeve with a logo type of thing. They also announced, of course, I mean, months ago on Halloween that this year is gonna have a Chucky house. So, um, yeah, Horror
Well,
Nights. Am I right?
you know what they say, Tommy. You
What do they say?
say potato, I say potato. You stupid.
Yeah,
So moving on out of Halloween
yeah.
already
hmm
and over to everyone's favorite part of the country, Atlanta, Georgia.
Atlanta, Georgia. So a highly anticipated roller coaster amongst coaster enthusiasts, of course, opened at Fun Spot Atlanta, Airy Force One, a ground up Rocky Mountain construction iBox tracked ride. It was supposed to open last year, but there were some construction delays with the Georgia law, and it has opened to great acclaim. Some calling it one of the top three RMCs in the country. Some even thinking it's better than Iron Gwazi, I've heard, which is insane. It's like, 150, 160 feet tall with great elements throughout, and it's at Fun Spot Atlanta. Like this park, it's literally a nothing park, and it got a world-class roller coaster out of nowhere. I think the park does have more plans to expand and maybe even work with RMC more. Maybe we get a couple of those here in Orlando. That'd be pretty cool. Tristan, I know you have a lot of thoughts on Air Force One, so lay them on me.
Uh, All I want to know is how you spell Airy because I asked you before recording and you couldn't tell me. All you said is it's how I typed it.
Correct. Um, Funny enough, I forget how to spell it now. I want to say it's like AR. Oh wait, or is it? Wait, I forget.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. You have failed me.
I don't know how to spell things. I just know roller coaster stats. I don't know what to tell you.
Good stuff. Good stuff. Well,
Yep.
hopping on out of news and into our discussion,
Ooh.
topic that's near and dear to both Tommy and I's heart. I was overjoyed when Tommy brought this up. And the topic here is what 5 scenes would you add to the Great Movie Ride if it hadn't been buried five and a
Yeah.
half years ago? So I'll go first.
All right.
Um, this is going to be a little shameless plug for an episode of another podcast I'm going to be guest spotting on here in the somewhat near future, hopefully, maybe. And that's going to be the Great Movie Radio Show, which you all need to go check out if you're a fan of the Great Movie Ride and movies, because what they do is they have a new guest each episode and they talk about the Great Movie Ride, and then they put whatever, like, they basically submit their list of favorite movies, and then the host of the show picks from all those movies and say, okay, how would you put this movie in the Great Movie Ride? If how would you put it right here in the thing? How would the scene be if whatever? So these are actually going to be 5 of my picks that are going to be on that episode that comes out in the near future, but it's not all of them because I think there was 11 or 12 scenes.
Oh wow.
So anyway, I'll just go down the list really quick. In no particular order.
Mhm.
Um, Kingsman: The Secret Service, to fit in the, I believe that was the action adventure category. Have you seen the Kingsman,
I
Tommy?
have.
Mm,
Yes. Love
that's just a
Kingsman. Yeah.
good movie. Of course, not appropriate at all to be put in a Disney attraction, but that's the fun of the Great
Yeah.
Movie Radio Show. They
Yeah.
can put whatever movie they want in the Great Movie Ride. For horror, I picked one of my favorite horror movies, The Witch. from
Ooh.
2015. Very good directorial debut of one Robert Eggers, who went on to direct The Lighthouse and The Northman, soon to be Nosferatu.
Ooh.
Love that movie. Number three, so that was horror. Three, Shape of Water. I believe that was from the fantasy, sci-fi or fantasy.
Oh wow.
Have you heard of The Shape of Water, Tommy?
Oh yeah, I know. I haven't seen it, but I know of a thing. But anyways, yeah, I know The Shape of Water.
Yeah, good
Always want to see.
movie.
Yeah.
Phenomenal movie. So I would throw that in there. Uh, okay, so this specifically is the animation portion of which in the ride was when you were leaving Casablanca going into Oz, there was a screen that just said Sorcerer Mickey from The Sorcerer's Apprentice. I picked The Emperor's New Groove. And for the one scene that would be up on that screen as you go by kind of quickly would just be Kronk pushed up against the wall, holding that note he holds for an extraordinary amount of time while someone walks by. If you know exactly what I'm talking about, he's like, for like 10 seconds because he's singing his own show tunes while he's running down the mountain with Cusco and a sack on his back. But then someone walks by. So, of course, he has to act inconspicuous and push himself against the wall and hold a note for a really long time. That's all it would be. Uh, and then for
That
the,
would be great.
I know, dude, in my head, it's hilarious. For the comedy section, which is actually where Wizard of Oz would be, just because Wizard of Oz is the most comedy like scene that was in the Great Movie Ride. I picked one of my favorite comedies, Walk Hard, the Dewey Cox story.
Oh my God. That's so
Also,
obscure. I love
super
that.
not appropriate, but
Not a,
it would be everything. You'd go into the ride. Okay, I won't give all my things
yeah.
away because you have to tune in the Great Movie Ride. But the first thing you'd see, because the Oz scene actually had several scenes, you'd go into the scene and it would be Dewey Cox leaning up against the wall like he is at the beginning of the movie, while his drummer goes, Dewey Cox has to think about his whole life before he plays. And then there'd be a few more. But if you haven't seen Walk Hard, you have
Wow.
no idea what any of this means, but it's such a funny movie. So those are my five: Kingsman, The Witch, Shape of Water, Emperor's New Groove, and Walk Hard. Tommy, what do you got?
Dang. That's awesome. I kind of wish that I would have thought about like the genres and like the way you'd go through them in the ride like you did. I just was thinking about movies like that would look cool on the ride. Here are the five that I got. So I got the Avengers, the original Avengers movie. So somehow incorporate that circle shot like of all the Avengers together. That would be super cool. Also, the Avengers song on the ride would be awesome. And then speaking of music, I'm including La La Land. I feel like there's probably a few good options from there, but I'm going with A Lovely Night. So that like music that first musical number with Ryan Gosling and Emma Stone. Am I was that who? Yeah, Emma Stone. Like really beautiful scene. Another scene that I think would look really cool on the Great Movie Ride is I'm the King of the World from Titanic. Really, that would be wonderful. Um, and then let's see here. I got two more here. I wonder small part of me wants to change one of them maybe, but okay. Hear me out. National Treasure when Nicolas Cage is stealing the Declaration of Independence. I
Okay.
think that would be great. And then also something from the new Planet of the Apes trilogy. Now I'm pretty sure like the first one does take place in a city that is already in one of the movies I already mentioned. So like maybe something from the second or third movie. Um, But another idea that I had before any of these, which I think would be cool to incorporate in the ride, but is already kind of at Animal Kingdom, is something from Avatar. I think that would be really cool to somehow have that. Um, I- but yeah, those are my five scenes I'd add to the Great Movie Ride, right there.
Yes.
Yes,
Hey, good stuff. That would be a lot of fun
yeah,
if it hadn't been buried 5.5 years ago, but we'll move
correct.
on. This one I was excited about too, even though my obviously our listeners will know I'm not as experienced with roller coasters as you might be.
Hmm.
So I'll actually let you take the lead on this one. What
All
is
right.
this next discussion, Tommy?
So this next discussion is going to be top five overrated roller coasters. So just some roller coasters we think are overrated. The route that I went, I don't even hate any of these roller coasters except for one of them. Like they're all very good, but I think they just get overrated a little bit. And I think I'm going to try to go from like least overrated to most overrated in my head, starting with Mako at SeaWorld Orlando here, which is one of my top 15. So like I said, I really like it, but it took a while for me to like it that much, and I've seen a lot of people say it's one of their it could be the best B&M hyper, and I disagree. There's three other roller coasters in its category that I think are a lot better than it. The airtime is wonderful on it, but it, the second half of the ride is and like I said, there's other rides in its class that I think do a much better job, but it's still amazing. Tristan.
Okay, I'll do the same order. Mine aren't exactly in an order, but I will go
Mhm.
from basically the least overrated to the most overrated. So honestly, sue me, Tron Light Cycle Run at Magic Kingdom.
Valid. I thought about throwing that one in myself.
It's
Like,
just like it's fun, but
mhm.
when you compare it to Guardians, which opened
Oh my God. Yeah.
whenever it did, it's like, oh, okay, it's actually not as cool.
Yeah, no, for sure. It has gotten better the more I've ridden it, but yeah, it's just short and in terms of a Magic Kingdom ride, it's not the best themed for the kingdom, but it's cool, but yeah, it's overrated. Another one that I'm going to mention, I'm a little sad that this is on my list just because I think the theming is good. Flight of Fear, it's at Kings Island and Kings Dominion. Um, it has a really cool theme for a roller coaster that's not at Disney or Universal, and I've seen a lot of coaster enthusiasts like it, like for its intensity and stuff, but like it is just so unbearably uncomfortable. And it sucks because like it has lap bars, so like with inversion, so you think it'd be better, but like, oh my God, I left that ride feeling so uncomfortable. It's like very far down my list just because of the roughness of it. So, but I've heard a lot of people think it's really cool. I disagree. It needs to not be rough.
Yes.
Yes.
So my next one is going out of the theme park world for a little bit. The Big Apple Coaster, which is the roller coaster in
Ooh.
Las Vegas. Um, it's one of those things that I believe is overrated because it's the only roller coaster in Las Vegas.
Mhm.
And you can see it from walking the strip and it looks cool and everything. And it's fun. It's a pretty tall roller coaster. It's got a couple loops in there, but like the amount of people that go on that thing, and also it costs like $20 to ride once or something like that. I would say it's technically overrated.
Gotcha. I feel you. Next one, this might piss off some people in the coaster enthusiast crowd. Maverick at Cedar Point. Intamin Blitz coaster opened in the late 2000s. It's a really, really cool ride. But like a lot of people say a lot of people will throw in their top tens potentially. And it's a top three or four at Cedar Point. I honestly wouldn't even rate it that high at Cedar Point. To me, like it's very fast and whippy, has a cool layout, but like it just did not touch me the way I thought it would. And I think it also didn't help that I rode Velocicoaster before I ever rode Maverick. Cedar Point is a park that eluded me, and so Maverick was one of the rides that I always did. So for years I always hyped it up in my head, and then finally riding it after as long as I was waiting to, and then getting to it after Velocicoaster, which is a much newer, modern, intimate multi-launch with better theming and smoothness. It just wasn't that comfortable, and maybe if I gave it a few more chances, but it just didn't hit me the way I thought it would.
Yes. So my
Yes.
next one, going back to Disney, actually my next three, the last three are all going to be Disney. This one might shock some people. I don't know. Space Mountain.
Space Mountain.
Um,
I feel that. Yeah.
it is it fun? Yes. Do I love it? Yes. Would I
Mhm.
would never ever wait more than an hour for it, and I know that the wait for that gets over an hour.
Yeah.
Now,
I considered putting that on this one. For me, it's just that half the time I write it, I'm accidentally seating in a position where it hurts me below the belt, if you will.
mhm.
If I'm sitting the wrong way, it does hurt down there. The next one on my list is going to be Montu over at Busch Gardens, Tampa. That is a B&M invert coaster. So, the train is below the track and it is very forceful, lots of inversions on it. A lot of enthusiasts say it's the best B&M invert or one of the best. It's not even in the top three of that for me. I just think it's a little bit too rough, a little too intense. Like I've been on plenty that are forceful, but like I don't feel uncomfortable on that one. Just I don't know, it's a little bit too much for me, and I don't think the layout is that amazing compared to other ones I've been on. So yeah.
All right, my next one, and really my next two, I think most people will actually agree with me, so they might not be shockers. But
Mhm.
my number two here, Slinky Dog Dash, Hollywood Studios.
Okay. Valid.
Fun roller coaster, sure. Awesome because it can kind of bridge the gap between a kiddie coaster and a more adult roller coaster, you know,
Mhm.
um, but not worth the 2 hour plus wait that it gets a lot of the
Yeah.
time, for
Or
sure.
or even just more than an hour.
Oh
Like,
yeah.
if that was at, a park that wasn't a Disney park, no way I'd be waiting more than an hour for it like I would at a Disney park.
Mhm.
So, yeah, I agree with that. I think it's one of those rides where the first time I rode it, it packed a little bit more of the punch than I expected it to, but like, it's still a family coaster. So, yeah, no, I agree with that. The number one most overrated roller coaster on my list is Twisted Timbers at King's Dominion, which, wow, second King's Dominion coaster on this list. Twisted Timbers is an RMC roller coaster. So, they converted an old wooden coaster into a modern creation. And, this company is highly regarded for their coasters I talk about all the time on the show. We just talked about Air Force One earlier. But this one it did not do much for me. Um, it just, yeah, like the airtime hills at the end were just uncomfortable, and there wasn't enough strong elements for me on the ride. Couple good airtime hills, but definitely the least favorite of the RMCs I've been on.
All right, here we go. My number one, Seven Dwarfs Mine Train.
Seven Doors, I knew this one was coming.
You knew it. You knew
Yeah,
it. It was coming out of my mouth. It's a fun ride, like the theming. Not very long, not very thrilling. Once
yeah,
again, not worth the crazy wait it gets. I mean, that ride's 9 years old now, and it
yeah,
still has a pretty high wait time.
yeah.
So,
Aside from Flight of Fear, I liked every roller coaster we talked about, but they're just a little overrated. And next week I'm going to discuss some underrated roller coasters, or at least I will. Tristan, if you have some coasters that you think are underrated, we'll talk about them in the next episode. Thank you guys for listening to this episode of Please Remain Seated. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, 5 stars, bell icon.